the depths of the dungeons to the tavern brawls. Save the king, kill the giant. We've been through it all. I could fill up a tome, but you're not coming home. Well, we all saw it happen. We're the ones you saved. We're gonna light you a candle, gonna tell your tale by the light of the moon. We'll remember you, dying to hear. We tried to help you with that diamond, but it wouldn't save your soul. And on that fateful day, evil wizard came. Now everybody in this realm is singing out your name. Well, can you hear us sitting out there in the astral plane? Our adventures together went to hell and back. Spent the day slaying dragons and escaping traps, but massive damage is done. And now you're really gone. But we'll remember you, dying to hear. We tried to help you with that diamond, but it wouldn't save your soul. And on that fateful day, the evil wizard came. And now everybody in this realm is saying out your name. Can you hear us sitting out there in the astral plane? We'll remember you, dying to hear. We tried to help you with that diamond, but it wouldn't save your soul. And on that fateful day, the evil wizard came. Now everybody in this realm is singing out your name. But can you hear us sitting out there in the astral plane? Can you hear us sitting out there in the astral plane?
Grab your rogue friend, a ranger, and some casters. Time to roll, have a good time, but don't burn down the tavern. Let's burn down the tavern. Time for total party chill. There's a critical hit, critical fail. Hold your head, see that dragon, we can slay it. And we'll level up all night till we get to that big bad evil guy. secrets from deep in your lair. We're here to tell you that your time has come. This is our kingdom today.
Who are the fools who would dare threaten me?
Dragon can fall. We'll slay you with our mighty sword. Dragon can fall. Your heart will soon be ours. Dragon can fall. You are the beast we're training for. We are the party who dare threaten you. We have no fear of your ancient power. Your breath of fire will not make us cower. We're here to tell you that the spells are cast. You will not last the night.
You are the fools who will now feel my wrath.
Dragon can fall. We'll slay you with our mighty sword. Dragon can fall. Your heart will soon be ours. Dragon can fall. You are the beast we're training for. We are the party who now will fight back. Quick! Grab the magic bow! All distracted! You'll never defeat me, dragon!
Prepare to meet your doom.
Dragon can fall. We slay him with our mighty swords. Dragon can fall. His heart will now be ours. Dragon can fall. He was the beast we're training for. We are the party who claim victory. We've come on down to the tavern for trouble and for fun, and to talk about the old prophecy. And we all sing songs at the tavern of the fights that we have won, and we dream about our next victory. Come away, adventure calls today, and tomorrow we'll tell of our tale. Come away, we'll see that dragon slain. But before we go, let's drink one more ale. Well, we won't burn down the tavern like the times we did before. It was not our fault, we swear honestly. But we'll do our dance at the tavern with the bards who've traveled far, and we'll ask them of the places they've seen. Come away, adventure calls today, and tomorrow we'll tell of our tale. Come away, we'll see that dragon slain. But before we go, let's drink one more ale. I feel the
Sorry, y'all. I didn't even plug it in. I didn't even try. Let me see. This is fine. But it's fixed now. I'm sorry. I actually don't have my nice mic set up right now, so it's just going to be using the MacBook. I hope that's okay. Yeah, team. It's been a while. It's been a while since we did an office hours. GM Chris, wise moves to start with the puppers. She loves being part of office hours. This is Valentine. Some of you know her. She's the future mascot of Start Playing. Okay, there you go. Team, welcome. Happy almost Halloween. We could just crank you up by 400. Let's do this. How's that? Hope that's better. Maybe I should just plug in the microphone. Let me just do that. Let's see. Oh, don't even have one of those. I'm missing the cord. My gosh, team. So sorry. I really kind of messed up today. Let's go ahead and put these in. Maybe this will help. Everyone knows that AirPods are some of the best audio. Okay, team, we have some fun news to share with you today. Also, let me know if the AirPods just sound terrible, and if not, I'll take a moment to get the audio properly set up. And if this works, if this is loud enough, much better, okay, great, perfect. Oh, that's crispy, so nice. Works. Oh, they're louder. Sounds good to me. Okay. Team, we have some fun updates. We want to talk about, of course, starter set. Can I see a hand in chat if you're familiar with starter set? If you've already heard about it. You guys put in chat if you've heard of starter set. Yep. Okay. We got one. Do we have more? Is that it? Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Allow. Let's see. Okay. Hello. There we go. That should be much better. Yes, starter set is really, really exciting, team. I'm so pumped. We've been working hard to make yeah, we've been working hard to make this happen. Did I freeze? No, I just paused myself. Okay, so starter set, I'm going to show you the latest version right now. Do a little demo. Let's go ahead and grab that screen capture. Right, window capture. We want to capture Start Playing. Is this the right one? Nope. Chrome. OBS Studio. Let's see. Trying to grab the right one. Application. Chrome. Let's see, is this right? Is this working? Ah. What a pain. Window capture. We'll capture. Why is it not working? Okay, well, we'll just do this one. All right, here we go. We'll go ahead and open this up. Learn to play. Learn to play Dungeons & Dragons. Now, remember, I talked about this. Starter set is going to start with D&D, but we're really hoping to expand it to a bunch of other game systems. In fact, we were talking. I was talking with some very, very cool game designers and folks on the marketing team at I would say, a very beloved newish game publisher. And they were pretty pumped about Starter Set and what it could do for theirs. And I don't, you can take a stab at guessing who it is if you want to try to get to the heart of it. But it was a pretty cool meeting I had with them. So let's go ahead and go through it. Let's go ahead and go through this flow. So first we go here. How much experience do you have? I've never played before. Of course, it gives you, hey, we'll match you with other people who've never played before. Do you have the basics? Yes, I do. How many people? I'm looking for just me and a friend, etc. And then when do you want to play? And here's all the different times. There's not a lot of times yet because this is live in production and it only has times that it only has times that people are actually listening for, and we only have a few people that are in like the alpha. We'll start inviting more DMs each day to this as we expand it. But let's say it's like, yeah, I want to go here. I want to play on the 5/7, November 9th, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Go next. Here's my Dungeon Master, right? Now, this is because there's only one Dungeon Master that's running a game on November 9th between 5 and 7. If there was more, it would show me a few to choose from. So I have Celtic Dinafew, and boom, here I am. I'm ready to play. Good to go. Good to check out. So we're really excited for this. We think this is going to be really positive to what we call D&D Dannies. So we have two customers that we feel that we service, which is D&D Dannies, which are, she or he or they are a person who hasn't played a game before. They haven't played a tabletop RPG. They're brand new to gaming. So we want to make it easy for them to get in their first game. Then we have tabletop tailors. The tailors, they know about gaming. They've played before. They've watched enough Critical Role that they know how to use our search to find a game. So that's the other customer that we kind of already really service very well. But we want to see if we can help Dannies more because we think that there's a lot of growth there for our Dungeon Masters and ourselves to help with that. And so we have some really cool marketing that's going to go in that. I'll talk about that a little bit later. There will be an expanded application to Starter Set as we allow more and more and more to make sure that we have enough we have a high enough fill rate. Copernicus question and also Copernicus, great job. If you do have a question, you can make sure you type question before your question in all caps so I can easily see it in chat. Are all Starter Set games only 2 hours or just the initial game? Or Copernicus, all Starter Set games are one-shots and they should all be 2 hours or less. And that's because we know some people, they assume that games are super long and they are hesitant to join a game that is that long. They don't know that 2 hours isn't enough. It's one of those things where we all know that a game that is 3 to 4 hours can be a blast. But we know that if you've never played before, the idea of setting aside 3 hours, 4 hours for a game you've never played can dissuade you from the game. And so the idea is to give someone an experience so fun that they want to sign up for the 3 hour session. They want to sign up for, a weekly 2 to 3 hour game. But this is to give people kind of a crash course. And I'll tell you, the best teachers are people that aren't going to sit there and read rules to you for the first 30 minutes. They're going to get you playing as soon as possible. They're going to teach you while you play. And so that's why you really want to focus on running a light 2 hour game. Sweet D RPGs. During the PHP celebration, I had 2 learn to play players who were brand new to SPG and D&D. They came in from the TikTok ads. Love to hear it. Question: for those that get invited to run games, are they allowed to start making games and setting up? Brian LaValle, yes. If you got access to Starter Set, you can start creating games now. If you got access, you should start making games that are after November 7th because We're going to start advertising them probably November 1st or 4th is when we're going to start our ad campaigns. And so you don't want to start on the this week because nobody's going to see it. Samuel, question. Would there be any one-shot recommendations for Start Playing? Most of my one-shots are 3 to 4 hours. Cool. Start Playing had some suggestions. Samuel Lagashi. We don't have anything that we recommend you run, but you can definitely I would probably talk to the other GMs in the starter set channel on Discord, which will formulate in the next few hours what they are running for 2-hour one-shots. I just had kind of my own that I usually run for, it's a very light, like here's a puzzle, here's a combat, here's an interaction and a boss fight. But that's just because I like to, just kind of not homebrew things, custom things. So I don't have like a one off the bat. Let's see. Okay. Are there other systems still ways off for starter sets? Copernicus? Yeah, I mean, because we don't know if starter set works. Copernicus, it might. It might be fantastic. And it might, not. And so we need to see how it works first. And once we figure out how it works, then we're going to go ahead and maybe be able to expand it to other systems when we partner with those publishers. Any update on Insta payouts, Echo Shields? Yes, we had some folks that used instant payouts. They found there was some folks committing fraud with instant payouts, and so we've kind of paused it because there's also kind of a bug in it too, but that bug kind of allowed for that, and so we're probably gonna have to make instant payouts have a higher level of verification with GMs, but we'll figure that out later. But probably sometime this year, we'll have it figured out, have instant payments back up. But thank you for your patience in that. Phoenix, is starter set looking for campaigns or one-shots? Phoenix, it is only one-shots for starter set. Thinking about doing a learn to play for a different game system for D&D. Would that be something open for starter set system? Andrew Leo, so we're not expanding starter set to other games yet until we've actually ran the pilot test with D&D and we've seen some traction. And then we'll probably expand to other systems if we're working with the publishers directly. Varel, there will be another sign-up form. Right now, we're kind of going with folks that have been on the platform long enough. We have a kind of a proven track record before we open up to other folks. But we're going to slowly add more people week over week if it continues to be successful. Did you start the seat filler program and how did it go? Playful Zealot? Yes, for people in starter set, we have a few seat fillers that are like friends of the staff and the staff itself. They'll be jumping in these games. The Dreams Gone instant payouts was great for knowing how much I wanted ASAP. I love it. Retcon wants to see an instant payout fraud tutorial. Not anymore. We close that loop. Question on the survey to get into the starter set. I messed up the times I can DM. I believe that's why I didn't get chosen yet. Is it possible? Thomas Elbins, we have only invited like 6 people to the alpha of starter set. We have not actually invited the full pass. So I don't know if you got if you made the cut or not. It immediately impacted my day-to-day life to have an instant payout. Bildo, yes, the team is absolutely. It's like I said, it's something we're going to see before the end of the year. It's right before we went on our offsite and we went to launch starter set, we had to turn off instant payouts because of some fraud. But once we wrap up with starter set and we launch it, we'll definitely be looking in like how we're going to launch instant payouts to kind of prevent problems with it, but also be able to like give that to GMs because we know, everyone loved it. It was like one of the most beloved releases we've done. Starter set will still have seats should be filled, or if a player books. Browse, can you rephrase that question? Andrew Leo, with the D&D celebration that's been going on, how successful would you say that has been based on feedback so far? Andrew Leo, it's the best event that the D&D events are the best events we've ever seen as far as participation and new players. I would say that was previously held by some of the folks at Son of Oak. They're fantastic as well. But yeah, it's been fantastic. A lot of new players have come in from it. And the volume of play has been huge. Nisia, are you looking to expand the starter set into other languages? Maybe. Like I said, starter set isn't successful yet. Starter set hasn't launched yet. So asking if we're going to launch in other languages is a little too down the road. That's like, we built a car. It's like, great. Are you going to go ahead and go across the country with it? It's like, well, we haven't actually turned it on yet, so we don't know if it even works. So to say that we're going to do a cross-country trip is a little too early to be asking those questions. Browse. I don't know how to formulate clear, so forget it. Let me try again. Question. Starter sets will still have seats that should be filled, or if a player books the game, even if they are alone, it's only player? Preemptive. Premature. Oh, thank you so much, team. Great ads there. Starter set will still have seats that should be filled, or if player books the game, even if they are alone, is it only player? Browse. Browse. I'll tell you this: all games should run, and the idea is to have at least 2 people in every game in starter set games. Byron. Thank you. Yeah. Brian. Yes. Essentially, like we will be slotting in seat fillers if you don't put in your own seat fillers, to make sure that games happen. Because one of the goals of starter set is to make sure that whatever people sign up for, it happens. We know through the data that if someone plays, like if you have a game that's on Friday and people sign up for your game, and then you actually run that game on Friday, and they enjoy that game with you, there is an 80% chance that player will stay with you. No, it's like a 78% chance that player will stay with you for 14 months. Now, if they sign up for a game on Friday and you don't run the game on Friday and you actually have to push it back a week, the chance of them continuing to play with you drops dramatically. In fact, there's like a 60% chance they will never play with you again. It's something wild like that. So one of the things we really want to focus on is making sure people get to play in that game they sign up for that date. Yeah. TJ, question: would it ever be possible to turn payouts into game credit? It'd be great to be able to use that money to earn from running games. It is something. It's just kind of like lower on the poll because there's a lot of like really impactful stuff we want to get out first. But it is something we've talked about. It's probably like when we have like a nice down week or something, a kind of an easy project to hand off to maybe one of the engineers and look at Stripe. Stripe, this actually leads me to my next thing. Stripe does have some new features that we could opt into, but it's like a higher tier. But one of them would be really cool because it would help us do this really well. But it would also help us with what we've been wanting to do is we actually want to break out custom payment and tips into 2 separate things. So with this added feature on Stripe, you could add a tip to a charge that doesn't have like a processing fee attached to it. So let's say you're in a game, it's a $20 game, right? There's a processing fee for the game's $20, but you are being charged for that, and a player can go and they can tip into it. So say like the player's like, I actually want to tip $6. Then that $6 doesn't have a processing fee attached to it, and it goes straight to the GM because it's a tip on top of a charge. So that is something that we want to look into in the future, and it's something that like we can do, but we'd have to upgrade it on our Stripe, and we'd also have to like build out some like actual technology behind it. But that way we can have custom payments and tips as separate things, which would be really cool. Because the idea is then the tip would have to be attached to a charge. So you couldn't tip for a free game. You could still do a custom payment for a free game, but if you're charging for a game like $5 and someone wants to tip you $5, then the $5 would be added into that charge, so there'd be no processing fee attached to it. So that's something we want to look into next year. Hopefully we can maybe, as we grow, like our infrastructure on payments also grows, and so we might actually just like get too big that we end up having to upgrade to that tier regardless. And so that's when we'd probably like roll out a feature like that. Okay. And it's kind of confusing, but I hope that makes sense. Yeah, so Bildo, if someone tipped $100 for a $5 game, then it's just $100 added into the charge, and so there wouldn't be a processing fee related to it. It's kind of how Stripe does its fee structure, and so this would be really really cool. But again, it's something that we have to we have to grow into, and we have to expand with Stripe. I like the spirit of charge free tips. I do, but I charge $5 games, and they're encouraged to tip me $25. That would be bad. But I don't think that's going to happen with a lot of people. And we could also have a thing that just kind of watches for that in the future. It's just we don't have the infrastructure. I mean, tips originally were designed for charity games because they were tips that would go to the charity, and it started out as custom payments because people want to pay for their games all in a month up top. And then people started using it as a tip feature later. And then we rolled it out for charity. So if you ran a game for a charity, those tips would go to the charity. So it's one of those things where it has multiple uses, and we kind of had to put in some hey, the reason why this is because we don't want you to go outside of our payment structure. But we realized that as we grow, we need to kind of separate those two because they're starting to get used a lot larger. We went from it's still a pretty small percentage, but we want to make sure that we anticipate that. Let's see. I had an interesting question for the increased take rate from 10 to 15 next year. Would there be a system where you can opt in as a DM to that? 15 is for opting in to new ads. Brian LaValle, great question. It's really not, I think you might be getting too stuck in the ads, but it's also just the team and also the infrastructure of the company. So ads is one part of that. It's not, the entirety of it. I would say it's probably, a third of it, if not 25%. Question. I just joined a couple days ago, and I'm curious, how much is reasonable to charge for a campaign on Start Playing? Braxton Claypool, there's a great article. If you go into Discord and type !advice, you'll get a whole list of tips and tricks for your first game. What games have a high demand but low supply of game masters? If I wanted to learn a new system where I could go with a strong player base and a few GMs. So Nick, that's a very specific question because you have to then undertake the unique idea of what people are searching for. And you have to assume that is demand. But the idea of searches also includes GMs. So I don't have a good answer for you. I will say that if you look at the last article, the September article from last year, those numbers are pretty much still the same. If you're looking for games that we have events with, those usually have, that's a good time. There's usually a flood of new GMs that are going to run for those, but that's a great time to start up a new system if you're looking to go outside of D&D. Are there any future plans to support DMs that use SG as a full-time job, DM daily, or DMs are all seen the same way? Thomas Eblin. I think we have a lot of things that continue to support full-time GMs. I think a lot of the features we continue to build are built with the power user first. That should also work for part-time. So a tool that we build for a full-time GM should benefit a part-time GM. And it should be, kind of it should handle the full-time need first, but even something that powerful then should happen the part-time GM. Gabe, question, is there a way to have a friend list so I can have a drop down on my invite players page? I'm lazy, keep looking up their email. Ark and Angeli, no, but there is something we're looking to in Follow and Fave. Follow and Fave is going to be I'm doing a thing. Follow and Fave is, I hopefully want to do a trigger. So when you publish a new game that's public or you new adventure, it emails people that game. The thing is if you create 10 games, I don't want to send your players 10 emails. So I have to kind of figure out how to best do it. And so that's something we are thinking about. Okay. Should we talk about events, next month's events? Jim, Chris, how did the vampire event with Alchemy turn out? I actually haven't looked. It goes till November, so I'll go ahead and post in the Discord in the channel about it after. Is there a way to use World Anvil as an option for platform that you use for playing on the site? Braxton, Anvil feels kind of like Legend Keeper. Feels like a ancillary tool. It doesn't feel like that's where the game is being played. Unless I'm wrong, I feel like World Anvil is more of a wiki than it is a tool. Well, it's a type of tool, but I don't think it's a type of play tool. But you let me know in the comments if you think I'm wrong. Leland Vahan, question: any chance for a D&D 2024 giveaway or incentives, either 2024 version or discounts on 5e? Leland Vahan? We actually, 500 something GMs got the new Dungeon Master's Guide today as an incentive to partner up with the DMG celebration. So that feels like a pretty big incentive. It's just Vaughn. Let's see. Sorry if this is a similar question. Is there a way to see full games? There is not a way to see full games. It has campaign running tool. So Mike D20, so you can actually play like how I play on Roll20 on World Anvil. Interesting. I didn't know that. Okay. So let's talk events. Next month we have an event with Mothership. I hope you guys like Mothership. I love Mothership. We're going to be doing a big event with Mothership with Tuesday Night Games. It looks like, and with Backer Kit. They're teaming up. So it should be really, really exciting. I'm pumped for that. Mothership is one of my favorite games. If you don't know Mothership, it's a fantastic fight to lose game. Has a big kind of OSR vibes. Real quick to get started. Real fun play. So we'll have something really cool at Mothership. There'll be a sign-up form probably later today or tomorrow. It's going to be a real quick sign-up form, though, because the event is going to be in November. Next up, Illuminative. So we'll be doing another charity month next month with Illuminative. Illuminative is a fantastic Indigenous peoples charity, and so we'll be partnering with them. If you run a game for it, all funds, even our cut, etc., is going to go right to Illuminative, and we're going to match what we're raising by $1,000. So that should be really cool. We did it last year. It was a freaking absolute success. So I'm pumped. And then talking about this month's event that started today, the Dungeon Master's Guide celebration. Y'all, I think we have to cut workshops from it because no Dungeon Master submitted a workshop. I was kind of bummed. I thought it was going to be a lot of people interested in doing like DMing 101 and all that. Wizards was really interested in having something to send their audience to about like learning to DM and like that kind of stuff. But it seems like it just wasn't something that folks were too interested in. So that's kind of a bummer. But I get it. People want to run games. They don't want to run workshops. Let me pull this up. We don't want other people to learn DM. The Dream's Gone. I didn't see anyone. I saw maybe 3. But I guess we'll have to cut that from the promotions. I don't even know how I would teach someone to DM in a workshop. I didn't even know that existed. I think there was too many events tied into one event, so it was confusing. Playful Zed, I could throw something in there. I didn't saw any workshop. Where would I find it? Thomas Ebsen. The reason why you can't find it is because no one submitted any. There's if you go to if you go here, essentially Wizards was like really excited to send folks to the DMG event, but also have it pre-selected on Game Master workshops. Which, if you go to the games, there's one called Game Master Workshop. That's this link right here. And essentially, like they know there's a lot of people that want to learn how to GM, and they're like interested to like up level their GM. People are home GMs. They thought like the pro GMs would be fantastic for that. So, and I don't think it's really, Michael Coetzee, I don't think it's really like how to use the DMG. I think it's really how to be a great dungeon master. I mean, everything from your voices to how to world build. There's so much that you can lean on that I don't think actually requires the DMG. We don't want more GMs. I think this, it's actually funny because I was, someone emailed me today saying like, hey, they emailed me a few days ago. They're like, I'm looking for a dungeon master mentor. And he like lives in the city, and he's like, you look like you run a lot of games. I just really want to pick your brain. And it really is one of those things where there's a lot of people that like, they want to run games for their friends, and they need some help. And so I'm really excited. This could be a really interesting aspect of Start Playing if there's a lot of people that like, I'm looking to up level, and I want to up level with a pro GM. Rule number 1: there is no rule. Throw your prep. Could the GM workshops be salvaged if there's? Yeah, looks like there's enough people here is interested in doing them. So if you guys like put some stuff up, I'll, and we have, at least 20 things that I can send to Watsy. I absolutely will. So please throw some in there. Developing DM workshops requires PowerPoint. Okay. I'm excited that y'all are going to put up some workshops. This is going to be really fun. Okay. There's so much versatility in being a GM, from voice acting. I mean, there's so much kind of different workshops you can do. You'd be like, hey, this is a workshop on how to create a good villain. This is a workshop on how to create great NPCs. This is a workshop on how to start your first village. This is a workshop on how to do great voices. This is a workshop on how to make custom magic spells and magic items. This is a workshop on how to tie in your player's backstory. This is a workshop on how to set up your game on Roll20. This is a workshop on how to set up your game on Foundry. This is a workshop on how to use Fantasy Grounds to be a dungeon master. There's so many great things that can be done. I honestly think like I think Start Playing has the highest concentration of game master knowledge in the world. I think, the best, some of the best dungeon masters in the world, you Start Playing, and all the experience that's kind of gathered here is fantastic. And I think a lot of times people just want to sit and like ask someone a question, and they want to get feedback on something. Even a feedback, like, hey, tell me about your world. I give you feedback on it. So I don't know. Can we get a workshop on how to make a workshop? The Game Master Workshop is actually a game type that you can list. You can list Game Master Workshop as the first game, and you can put Dungeons and Dragons as the second game. You don't even have to put Dungeons and Dragons as the second game. Do the GM workshops have to be free of charge? No, you can charge for them. I just like the roundtable discussions. Okay. Next, let's talk about great. That's Skunishka. Thank you so much. That's actually really good feedback. I'll try to make that more clear in the future. Okay. Darrington Press. That's another note I have here. Darrington Press. I talked to Darrington Press just the other day, and they're really excited about the release of Daggerheart. And they said they did want to talk to us and do some sort of event and some sort of collaboration. So even though the release of Darrington Press is still amorphous, if you are a Daggerheart fan, keep that in mind, because we will be doing something with them. Andrew Leo, the DM workshops have to be about D&D because it's part of the Dungeons and Dragons DMG celebration. That's the event. Michael Coetzee, I don't know what you'd like out of an FAQ or resources for sample workshop. If you create a game template and you select Game Master Workshop as the game, that is essentially how you'd create a workshop for people to sign up for. But as far as like how to set up a successful workshop, then I don't have something like that for you. I think that's kind of like a per GM thing. Is Coyote and Crow joining with SBG from Illuminative Nave like we did last year? I'm gonna go ahead and message them, but this time, we've made it so. Last time, what we realized is a lot of people thought they had to run Coyote and Crow to participate in Illuminative, and it wasn't until later in the month that they realized that. So I want to make sure as many people can participate as possible, and so that's why I'm leading with Illuminative. Let's see. I can't wait till Scroll hears about that. I don't know. Question: do you know how much I love Daggerheart? I don't, but I think a lot. Okay. Some other things in the works. I think you guys have probably seen this. Let me go ahead and share my screen again. We're working on these. This is the Vampire the Masquerade. If we click in it, you probably notice that we started adding these. These up here, these are breadcrumbs, and they help out a lot with SEO. We're going to be building out these pages. They're going to have a lot more content, real cool stuff pretty soon. They're going to have things like, who publishes this game? What other games should I check out if I like this game? You go here, you have your description, you have your games, but we're going to be running a lot of stuff into these category games. And you're also going to have categories for the different D&D modules, and then eventually we'll probably have something for the Pathfinder adventure paths. We're going to start with just D&D modules, but we are really kind of exploding our category pages. We know that it'll draw a lot of it draws a lot of organic traffic when we have these. Before, it was getting a lot of organic traffic from disparate game listings that were no longer running. So sometimes the GM's not even on the platform anymore. So we kind of made these to get people into games that are scheduled, that are happening right away. We'll probably have a section here on like top GMs that run this game. But one of the coolest things that these new category pages are going to have, and this is if Nate lets me have it. This is if Nate doesn't cut it. All right? So you tell Nate he can't cut this. Is reviews. You'll be able to review a game system or a module, and it'll say, this dungeon master, this game master, this storyteller, this keeper has run X sessions of this game, and they've rated it, etc. And a player can rate it as a player, and it says, hey, this player has played X amount of sessions of this game. So, and one of the reasons is a lot of people are very interested in hearing about, like, well, why should I play this game? And make it really easy for folks to review why they like a game and put out that in writing. Yeah. Question: could SPG add Spelljammer, Light of Zexus, as a module type? Spelljammer shows a setting in the game template, but it's not a module. Let's say like Waterdeep Dragon Heist. I'd have to. Oh, Light of Zexus. Yeah, I think that we might be able to do that. Philomania, I'm gonna specialize in running games I don't like. I love that idea for rating the adventure and modules. Absolutely, that'd be very cool, especially for players. Yeah, because a player can say like, oh, I played 60 sessions of Waterdeep Dragon Heist and I liked it. I liked it a lot. Or they can say like, you know what, I didn't like this adventure path. I didn't like this game system. And they can put why. And of course it shows like how many games they've run, and it's by GMs and players. And so if people want to know more about games, it's also really great for SEO, having those reviews. So it should be cool. It's, down the line, but it's something I'm excited about. The new modular reviews will be a review of the way a specific GM runs that system module. Shouldn't No, it's the GM's review of that system module. Are there any plans to bring adventures as options for non-D&D games like Massive Nyarlathotep for Cthulhu? If we see great success with the D&D modules, absolutely. Dear Stein, yes, it's fantastic to send back to the publishers. Okay, let's see what else we have. On the horizon, we have a profile revamp, we have a reviews revamp, a homepage revamp, and a games page revamp. So the games page revamp is actually what people like go to look at to book in your games. That's the game page. It's the listing. It's called also the PDP in our terms, which is the product description page, the product being your game. That page is going to get a revamp. So is the home page. So is the reviews overall, and then your profile. So the GM profile is going to get a revamp. The GM profile is going to get a revamp that actually is more akin to the needs of a tabletop tailor, someone who's experienced in gaming. But the reviews is going to be part of that. Because we're going to change how reviews are displayed and how they're sorted. And there's a bunch of other feedback that we got from players and GMs that we're folding into the reviews revamp. Dreams got maybe player profiles too. In the future, we just want to make sure that it's never really been clear to players that their profiles are public. And Nate and I talked, and there's maybe a little bit concern that having their profiles public might be... they might not be something they like, but there's nothing really on a player profile that's really anything that needs to be private. It's just kind of you're telling GMs the type of games you like to play and about you. So we just want to make that more clear. We're going to do some interviews with players to make sure that they feel like, oh yeah, this is great. I would love for, other people to be able to find my profile too. Brian Lavalley, before we tackle more like specific tools for West March campaigns, we're probably going to be tackling certain tools for play by post. And then West March will probably be something that follows that. So you want Game Master workshops for the DMG event? Absolutely. Dungeon Delvers. Ugh. Guess my question got skipped. Dungeon Delvers, I'm only human. Feel free to ask your question again. I apologize. I can't get them all. I wish I wasn't human. I wish I was superhuman. Question. I remember over a year ago when SPG established a system via the website where I submitted a suggestion and a new VTT I want to use, but haven't heard anything about it. Why? And Julio, because we need to actually change that system. We added so many platforms that people ask for that have 0 results now. People don't use them. And then we have a bunch of then backend data that has those. So we can't just cut them because then we'd have to cut them from also the game listings that don't have any sessions scheduled, right? So we need to find a better way to have new platforms added. Usually if there's 50 or more people that have upvoted that platform on Hello Next, our feature request, then we'll go ahead and add it. Or if we're working with that platform directly on an event, then we'll add them. But we don't want to just add a platform just because it exists. We want to have it either vetted because it's popular, people want to use it, or we're working with them directly. Let's see. Separating people. Wait, Devin is not superhuman? Chance Russo. So to be clear, how do we set up and promote a DM workshop? Chance Russo, you create a game template that is a workshop instead. When you go to select the game, you choose the Game Master Workshop, and then you make sure the event is marked for the DMG celebration. Dungeon Delvers question. Can we please get a system where we pay a small fee to boost games useful to newer DMs on Start Playing who don't have a reputation built yet? Question, can we please get a system where we pay Start Playing a small fee to boost games that are useful to newer DMs on Start Playing who don't have a reputation built yet? So the new DMs would be paid for this. I don't know about this. I feel we'd have to, I feel that we'd probably maybe have a separate tool, maybe something kind of like Starter Set for newer GMs. But I don't want to start on that kind of tool. I want value to be provided before money being paid. I understand the problem though. There is this kind of like this, very specific problem of new GMs getting started. And I don't know if that's a solution, but I understand the problem you're talking about. It is definitely one that we talk about. And I think the idea of Starter Set and a lot of stuff we're exploring is designed to hopefully help newer GMs, because if we can see it as a great onboarding ramp for new players. Oh my gosh, so many questions. Is SP ever making a difference between 5e and 5e? Big fucking sword. Big sword. No. It's just not necessary, in our opinion. It's more like, are you going to use Xanathar's guide or not? Go ahead and put that in your game listing. Question. I think I thought this question before, but I'm not sure if it's answered. Are workshops expected to be free or they can be charged? They can be either. Absolutely. I think it would benefit us GMs to know what kind of games are running at what time. What are the reasons we can't see full games, or at least a list of titles and times? Adam Hembeck, mainly because we'd have to build something just for that. And we want to use our development resources on other things. I do see where some of this would be valuable, but I think it's like, it leads you in a certain direction. You're like, well, if a lot of GMs are running games at this time, maybe I should run games at this time, or maybe I shouldn't run games at this time. And it's also private information that we don't want to be public. We don't want competitors to know like how many games are actually running on Start Playing. We want to kind of keep that to our investors. Even some of our partnerships, we don't have a lot of that information being shared unless it's explicit to them or their events. But I do understand the ask, and I think there's a way to kind of like solve some of that, rather than just giving that raw data of like how many people, how many GMs are running a full game at this time. And I think it's more like, maybe talking about saturation, but it's also, we don't know demand. So that's kind of a problem we have to solve in the future. Question: do you have to use maps feature in D Beyond if I'm running one of the celebration one-shots? Nope. Cheyenne, you can use whatever you want if you want to participate in the DMG celebration. It's only starter set that requires the use of maps. TJ, aren't you the great dev in the sky? Doesn't it give you infinite cosmic power? No, it's Valentine who gives me cosmic power. I don't see an option in the game tablet. Oh, let's see. I don't see an option in the game tablet maker to set up a workshop. Would you just, it would be a one-shot, Andrew Leo. You would create a one-shot game, and when you go to select the game system, you would choose Game Master Workshop. GAMEMASTER Workshop. Not GM Workshop, Game Master Workshop. Is there a track? And then also when you go to select, what is it? Content warnings. You just select seminar. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Olaf, is there traction to create a medium length game between one shot and campaign? Is there traction? Olaf, can you rephrase that? Overall, something like Stata would be useful for playing a schedule. Is there any plan for start playing to publish quarterly analytics to GMs? Not much has changed since the last time we published the most popular games, the most popular times, the most popular days. It's kind of remained the same. But I do think that we'll probably, as we get more data, especially with starter set, we'll probably be sharing more specific things that we believe you can action on. Let's see. Is there anything in the work to help DMs get those first couple players to actually get their game? Because once you have at least 3 players, the other players join pretty quickly. Dungeon Delvers, yes, I would actually say one of the best things, and we created this right at the bat, is the add a friend feature. Having a few friends join your game that have played with you before, especially those folks that have reviewed you, is essential, right? That's great. We also do know a lot of players who do take chances on people that have have almost no verified reviews. We've seen that. So having a great game, having some of your friends start off is some of the best steps you can take. Okay, I think, oh my goodness, guys, we went through everything. I was going to talk about some of our advertising strategies, but we're almost out of time. But let me kind of quickly go through maybe just one of the strategies that we're using for starter set, which is really exciting. AvidDM, can we update our availability windows for potential starter set slots? You absolutely can if you want. But for the most part, the availability isn't going to be a huge thing past the 50 GMs that are getting picked first. So I wouldn't be too concerned. Okay. Since we have just a few, actually, do I have another meeting? Oh no, I can. Okay. I'm gonna stick around for another 10 minutes, and just talk to you about the one of the strategies that we're using for starter set. So there's a bunch of things we're doing for starter set, but specifically on meta, we are finding a lot of success with driving creative as targeting. So before, back in the day, on things like Meta, Instagram, Facebook, etc., what you would do is you'd say, hey, I want to target people that are this age and that are into these things. You say, I want to find people that are into Magic the Gathering cards, Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and Dragons, role-playing games, etc. And then Facebook's like, cool, I'm going to show this ad to all those people. Now, with AI, all these algorithms, you can actually choose to not target anyone. You say, hey, I want to target US, Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, yada, yada, yada. And then what you do is your creative is your targeting. So, for example, we've interviewed over 1,000 people who want to learn to play D&D but haven't yet, right? One of the big things I notice is there's a lot of people who are intimidated. So one of the creatives is an ad set that's all about people who are intimidated. So we're going to have, 4 to 6 creator videos or me videos that are talking about, hey, have you ever felt like not welcomed at a game store? Or have you ever felt intimidated to join a group because all your friends know how to play this game and they're talking in language that you don't even understand? Essentially, all those ads talk to that. Because what Facebook does, it says, hey, I'm going to show all these videos to a bunch of people. It says, okay, 10% of the people that I've showed the videos to watched the whole thing. And then 5% of them clicked. So I'm going to show your video to more people like that. So creative is what you use to target now. So we have 8 different types of creative that we're using to target people with starter set. One being intimidation, one being absolute newbie. People are like, I just don't know anything. Others are people that like, they want to meet friends. They want to meet people online and want to make friends. Others is like, I have a wild schedule. Others are people who are looking for escapism. So all of these are different themes that are created into ad sets. And those ad sets will have a number of different creative created by our different partners, influencers, and myself. And then when we run those, they all kind of run against each other and they end up finding their own audiences. The ones that do really well, we want to go deeper into. So yeah, that's essentially one of the ways that we're going to be promoting starter set. Jacob Anderson question, would it be possible to get set up some way to offer seat filler spots to fellow GMs on the site to help get those games off? Jacob Anderson, there's a channel for that. Is SPG interested in expanding other languages soon, like translating the site, offering support in other languages? I'm a native Spanish speaker, and I'd be interested in that. Nizia, that is something we are interested in, but first we're going to be doing a local currency stuff, and we're going to be expanding first to other English-speaking countries with local currency, and then we're going to look at where our largest countries that of non-speaking English countries of current users, and we're going to probably expand and test into those first. Braxton, what type of external advertising are we allowed to use? Whatever you want. I mean, whatever's legal. What are you thinking, Braxton? Can you talk more about the seat fillers? I've spoken with you, DMs about it. And I'm fully on board. When we have a bunch of folks that I know, that our team knows, that we've invited to be official seat fillers for the starter set project. Gabe, question: how do we know if we are picked for starter sets? Email. There'll be an email that you'll get if you're picked for starter sets, and people will start getting those emails this week. Regarding seat fillers, there's a dedicated channel on the official Start Playing Skid. Yep. How are the plans shaping up for advertising internationally in the new year? Daily Hancock, I mean, pretty standard. I mean, we have a bunch of campaigns that we had used previously that we have in, essentially most of Europe, a little bit of Asia, a little bit of Latin America. Of course, we have to start advertising in places where we know that there's a pretty even, what's the right way to put it? That the first English speaking is where we start, and then we expand into non-English speaking countries. We also look at average earnings. So it'd be really hard to start in Brazil, because a game in Brazil, an average game price on Start Playing in Brazil would be incredibly expensive. So we have to kind of first figure out where we go from there. And then when we probably start having games you want to find a game in Portuguese, you live in Brazil, having a section of the site that is also kind of adjusted so people that are running games in Brazil can charge I forget what Brazilian currency is. But making it a little more affordable for folks in those different countries. So that's kind of a whole different thing. Where did you learn to talk so fast? Brian Bays. I don't know. Am I was it not ineligible? Illegible? Okay. I think we talked about kind of the Facebook and Meta and Instagram plan. We talked about Daring to Plus. We talked about all the different revamps. We talked about the events. We talked about the future of custom payments and tips. We talked about starter set. The Real. Thank you so much, Chalira. Okay, team. I think we did it. Unless anyone else has any other questions, we got 5 more minutes before I absolutely got a jet. But this has been fantastic. Oh my gosh, so many good questions today. Intelligible. Yeah, let's see. there any other questions? What's the antonym of that? Antonym. There is none. Okay. I'm almost at 1,000 a day for my weekly as a full-time GM. Thanks. Oh my gosh, GM Ryan Adams, that's dope. Oh my guys, I can't actually tell you about it yet. Oh my gosh, there is some really cool GM loot in the works. I hope I land some of these deals I'm trying to work out. But there's some cool GM loot that I hope to roll out in the future. Unintelligible. Thank you. How do you get your beard to look that good? It just genetics. I just got lucky. Any plan to expand seminars? A great resource. Brian Bayes, fantastic question. We are actually going to analyze all of the people who participated in the different GM seminars, and we're going to look to see, did their average booking rate go up? Did their average price go up? Did their average games per month go up? Essentially to see like, hey, what was the impact of this? And if we could say the impact was enough to actually cover the amount of money that we're paying GMs, then we're absolutely going to do this because we know it's impacting GMs in a way that increases their success. Because then we know like that's great, that's the right investment because it's increasing the skills of our GMs. If it shows that there's no evidence of those GMs becoming better, then it's a lot harder because like we want it to help GMs succeed, and so that's one of the big goals of the GM seminars. Brian Bayes, let me know if that makes sense. Jonathan, just want to say that across the site, the feeling that SPG really wants you to see it as a GM on the site. Absolutely. You kidding me? Jonathan, I'm so invested in your success. I mean, I'm so excited. Every time I read, actually, you know what I would love? There's a bunch of GMs on Start Playing started a Start Playing subreddit. I want to do some kind of fun program where people start sharing their success stories on that subreddit. Because when they're just in the Discord, it's, they're not shared globally. But I would love to see other GMs be able to see that, other players to be able to see the success of our GMs. That would be really, really fun because I read that channel every day and it makes me so happy. Thank you so much, Sweet D. Grandy, what advice can you give GMs trying to expand their business on SPG? Grandy Scald, I would say one of the best things you could do is really build up your brand and figure out one channel that you want to dig into deeper. And that could be YouTube, that could be TikTok, that could be, any of those. But offering something to your current players that they find really interesting that they're going to kind of support, right? So if you start making great TikTok content or great YouTube content, your current player bases want to support, but it will help expand your other player base. I've heard so many people say they like, oh, I saw this GM and I clicked on their like YouTube link on their profile and I got to see more about them and I really liked what I saw. If you can, kind of expand that, it helps people connect with you. So it's one of those more selling points when people come across your profile and they see that and then they're sold. Jacob Anderson trying to get 600 a week. Let's go. Jesse Knight. Question: is there a place where we can request GM seminars? No, not yet, but that's actually a great idea. If we solidify the idea of seminars into a long-term project, I definitely think that would be valuable. How much could Start Playing start if? How much playing could Start Playing start if Start Playing could start playing? I like that. What's the difference between GM workshops and GM seminars? GM seminars are sanctioned by the Start Playing team, and then they are funded by the Start Playing company. And it's really like meant to like, hey, you're a pro GM. Here's how to up level as an even more pro GM. Also, Grandy, I think that like the taking those seminars is another thing. Anecdotally, I think they're valuable, but I haven't looked in the data to know that they are, but I believe they are. I also believe one of the best things a pro GM can do is play with other pro GMs. I say this all the time, but I've played in games with pro GMs and they do something that I don't do. I'm like, I want to add that to my game. And then they do things that I do, and I'm like, ooh, I actually hate that as a player. I'm going to take that out of my games. So there's a lot of learning there. Sorry for the last minute question here. Do DM workshops have to be one shot, or could they make them campaign? They occur semi-regularly. Mike D20, you could. I just don't think they'd be as successful. Is there an advanced level seminar for people having to struggle even when they're experienced on SPG? Ekin, that's actually that's actually what the GM seminars originally were for. Druckle, full-time DM for 2 years. I love that. Shit, does we even have flair for success stories? I'm so stoked. I should ask folks for their glory stories and make a YouTube. Oh, dreams. I love that. I want to see that Reddit. Yes, do it. Too many horror stories on YouTube. We need more glory stories. Yes. Question: what's the difference between GM workshops and seminars? Oh, no, Nina. Yes, the idea is seminars are funded by us, and workshops are just anyone can run it. Any hopes of an SPG wiki to collate knowledge? Michael, great, interesting idea. I haven't even thought about that, but that might be something we should explore. So essentially diversify, but in a very specific branded way. Thanks, Evan. Yeah. And Grady, the thing is, what I say is start with one and be so hyper-focused that, like, you'll know, like, here's the thing. If I do something for 20 hours, I should be able to tell if it had an impact or not. If I do something for 2 hours, I won't know if it had an impact or not. So what I'm saying is go deep into one thing to see if it moves the needle for you. Because it's also like, do you enjoy it? Is your output good? And if it is, you should see an impact. And if it's not, then maybe you want to move on to the next thing. That's the same thing that we do. That's like traction testing. That's what we do at Start Playing. We do a bunch of different types of, modeling. We do a bunch of different types of ads on different platforms to see which has the most traction. And we do, instead of doing like, you don't want to do a test of like, hey, let's advertise on Reddit for $1,000 and see if it's helpful. No, you want to advertise on Reddit for $20,000 to see if it's impactful to Start Playing, because Start Playing is such a large company. We need to see big swings. And so that is kind of like what I mean when you want to go really deep into something. It doesn't always have to be money. It could be time. It could be effort, etc. Let's see. Also approached 2 years as a full-time DM, averaging 14 a month. Really complete change, upgraded my life. Love that, Daniel. Okay, team, that's it. Let's get out of here. Thank you so much. I love office hours. I will see you all back in office hours, not next week, but the week after. And of course, I'll see you in the Discord. I hope you have a fantastic day and have fun running games. You know what? Also, put in the comment a good sign-off I should have for office hours, because I need a good sign-off. I don't have that. Have fun running games? That's not a good sign-off. Help me with a good sign-off. Put some ideas in chat. All right. Thanks, team.
About the old prophecy, and we all sing songs at the tavern of the fights that we have won, and we dream about our next victory. Come away, adventure calls today, and tomorrow we'll tell of our tale. Come away, we'll see that dragon slain, but before we go, let's drink one more ale. Well, we won't burn down the tavern like the times we did before. It was not our fault, we swear honestly. But we'll do our dance at the tavern